you. Wow, just like in the Knesset. Sarah and I want to thank you for this wonderful reception and this applause that could be heard as far away as Jerusalem. That's Jerusalem, the eternal, united capital of Israel. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Howard, and thank you, Rosie. Thank you, Michael, and all the leadership of AIPAC. Thank you for everything that you do. Now, I know that more than half of the members of Congress are in attendance here tonight. I deeply appreciate your being here. Michael, you said that I spoke last May in Congress, and when I did, you, the members of Congress, stood up to applaud the state of Israel. So now I ask, now you can applaud, but now I want a special applause. I want to ask the 13,000 supporters of the state of Israel to stand up and applaud the representatives of the United States for standing up with Israel. Democrats and Republicans alike, I salute your unwavering support for the Jewish state. Thank you. And I want to send a special message to a great friend of Israel who's not here tonight, Senator Mark Kirk, the co-author of the Kirk-Menendez Iran Sanctions Act. Senator Kirk, I know you're watching us tonight. Please get well soon. America needs you. Israel needs you. I send you best wishes for a speedy recovery. Ladies and gentlemen, I also want to recognize tonight Yossi Peled, who's with us. Yossi, would you please stand up? Yossi was born in Belgium. His parents hid him with a Christian family during the Holocaust in World War II. His father and many other members of his family were murdered at Auschwitz. His mother survived the Holocaust, returned to reclaim Yossi, and brought him to Israel. Yossi became one of Israel's greatest and bravest generals. And today he serves as a minister in my cabinet. Yossi's life is the story of the Jewish people, the story of a powerless and stateless people who became a strong and proud nation able to defend itself. And ladies and gentlemen, Israel must always reserve the right to defend itself. I want to recognize Israel's ambassador to the United States, Michael Oren. Michael, you're doing an outstanding job, and thank you for everything you're doing for our country, and thank you for everything you're doing for the friendship between Israel and the United States. I also want to recognize Ambassador Dan Shapiro, U.S. Ambassador to Israel. You know, Dan, President Obama was right. Your Hebrew is improving. It's not up to par yet with Michael's English, but it's getting better. You have a way to go. And Dan, we appreciate everything you've been doing to strengthen the alliance between our two countries. Thank you. So, are there any students here tonight? A few? A few thousand. Anyone here from Florida? From New York? How about from Wisconsin? That's important. I'll tell you about it later. From California? Oh. Well, you're the future. And thank you all for ensuring the future of the great alliance between Israel and the United States. Ladies and gentlemen, tonight I'd like to talk to you about a subject that no one's been talking about recently. Yep, Iran. Every day I open the newspapers and I read about all these red lines and timelines. I read about what Israel has supposedly decided to do, or what Israel might do. Well, I'm not going to talk to you about what Israel will do or will not do. I never talk about that. But I do want to talk to you about the dangers of a nuclear-armed Iran. I want to explain why Iran must never be allowed to develop nuclear weapons. President Obama has reiterated his commitment to prevent that from happening. He stated clearly that all options are on the table and that American policy is not containment. Well, Israel has exactly the same policy. We're determined to prevent Iran from developing nuclear weapons. We leave all options on the table, and containment is definitely not an option. The Jewish state will not allow those who seek our destruction to possess the means to achieve that goal. A nuclear-armed Iran must be stopped. Now, amazingly, some people refuse to acknowledge that Iran's goal is to develop nuclear weapons. You see, Iran claims to do everything it's doing, that it's enriching uranium to develop medical isotopes. Yeah, that's right. a country that builds underground nuclear facilities, that develops intercontinental ballistic missiles, that manufactures thousands of centrifuges, and that absorbs crippling sanctions, is doing all that in order to advance medical science. So you see, when that Iranian ICBM is flying through the air to a location near you, you've got nothing to worry about. It's only carrying medical isotopes. Ladies and gentlemen, if it looks like a duck, if it walks like a duck, if it quacks like a duck, then what is it? What is it? That's right. It's a duck, but this duck is a nuclear duck. And it's time the world started calling a duck a duck. Fortunately, President Obama and most world leaders understand that Iran's goal, well, they understand that the claim that Iran's goal is not to develop nuclear weapons is simply ridiculous. Yet incredibly, some are prepared to accept an idea only slightly less preposterous: that we should accept a world in which the Ayatollahs have atomic bombs. Well, sure, they say, Iran is cruel, but it's not crazy. It's detestable, but it's deterrable. My friends, responsible leaders should not bet the security of their countries on the belief that the world's most dangerous regimes won't use the world's most dangerous weapons. And I promise you that as Prime Minister, I will never gamble with the security of the State of Israel. Thank you. From the beginning, the Ayatollah regime has broken every international norm and flouted every international rule. It seized embassies, it has targeted diplomats, it sent its own children through minefields, it hangs gays, it stones women, it supports Assad's brutal slaughter of the Syrian people. It is the world's foremost sponsor of terrorism. It sponsors Hezbollah in Lebanon, Hamas in Gaza, and terrorists throughout the Middle East, Africa, even South America. And Iran's proxies have dispatched hundreds of suicide bombers. They've planted thousands of roadside bombs, and they fired over 20,000 missiles at civilians. So through terror from the skies and terror on the ground, Iran is responsible for the murder of hundreds, if not thousands, of Americans. In 1983, Iran's proxy Hezbollah blew up the Marine barracks in Lebanon, killing 241 US Marines. In the last decade, it's been responsible for murdering and maiming American soldiers in Afghanistan and in Iraq. Just a few months ago, it tried to assassinate the Saudi ambassador to the United States. This is in a restaurant just a few blocks from here. The assassins didn't care that several senators and congressmen would have been murdered in the process.